So I was laying in bed the other day and I was racking my brain trying to figure out why building wealth is so difficult. Because it's hard. I mean, if it was easy, everyone would do it, right? So I was just thinking, I'm like, is it because people don't make enough money? And that's not the reason. Really, we make enough money, we just don't do what we're supposed to do with the money. Then I was thinking that people don't have enough money. And again, I think we have enough money, we just don't know what to do with it. And I was thinking maybe investing and learning about investing and learning about investment vehicles and learning about cryptocurrency and stocks and bonds and the stock market may be hard. And that's why people don't do it. But every day, a lot of us learn a lot of hard things and we overcome and we usually excel at those things that we really want to learn about. So that's not it either. But I come to the conclusion. And the main reason wealth building is so hard is because people don't talk about the elephant in the room. And I hope you know what that expression means. I'll explain it right after the intro. But if we continue to not talk about the elephant in the room, we will continue to have generation after generation after generation that don't know enough about money, that don't save enough money, and don't know how to invest money. So stick around after this short intro, and let's talk about the elephant in the room.
The Real Teddy Talk.
Hey YouTube, it's your girl, The Real Teddy Talks, educating you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on entrepreneurship, your hustle and your grind, and building generational wealth. And the topic of today's conversation is generational wealth. And we're going to talk about that elephant in the room. So for those of you that are too young to know that expression, I think they still use it, but it's basically, imagine if there was a big elephant sitting in the middle of this room and there was 10 people in here and no one mentions the elephant, right? Something that doesn't belong, something that's outside of the ordinary. One of these things are not like the other kind of things, right? And nobody says anything about it. And everybody's supposed to pretend it's not there. I know you've all experienced situations where everyone in the room has heard something, gossip, rumors, you know Joe's getting fired tomorrow, whatever the situation, and nobody talks about it. So what is the elephant in the room when I'm talking about building generational wealth? And it's money. People don't talk about money. You have families that don't talk about money. You have generation after generation don't talk about money. You have friends that you love and adore that don't talk about money. So you have the people that are closest to you, and you guys never talk about money and wealth building. And I don't mean money like, oh, I paid for this thing. I got a new car. It cost this much. Like not boasting kind of money, right? Or not, oh, I'm broke as hell kind of money, where you're like, you trying to make it to the next payday and you're commiserating with your broke friends about how broke y'all are. That's not what I mean either. I mean talking about money and the power of money, right? And that starts from your upbringing. If you grew up in a house and y'all didn't talk about money, that's the problem. If your parents only talked about bills that were due and how they had to scrimp and scrape, or why they didn't have money to send you on your field trip, or how much lunch costs, or whatever new age parents talk about, but they never sat you down and say, here's the value of $1 today, and here's the value of $1 tomorrow, and explain to you time value of money, and explain to you how the dollar appreciates over time, but also inflation cuts that appreciation. And I know I'm talking all of these like investment terms, but you guys know what I mean. If your parents or your grandparents or your aunties and uncles or those close family friends, if y'all didn't sit around at the table when you were younger and discuss the value of money and what it can do for you and how you need to use it to your advantage, then you're like me and you're stuck and you have to figure it all out on your own. Right? I think about why that happens. And I think people are lumped into some groups. So there's a group of people who fear talking about money in general, right? So people who fear talking about money because they don't understand it and they don't know how to explain it. There's people who fear talking about money because they really don't have a lot. They don't think they have a lot of it. And they don't want people in their business, right? You don't want your kids in your business. You don't want your friends in your business, etc. Then there's people who have a lot of money and they're fearful that someone's going to try to take it from them. And they don't want to talk about it either. I have a funny story about that. So I have a close family friend who's very up in age. And they don't have any kids. And we're really close, as far as in the line of if they didn't have children, I could be childlike, right? Not one of their children, but childlike. And we experienced a sudden loss in a close family friend, right? Like very unexpected. It was a car accident. The person died. So it's one of those things that make you think and make you appreciate life, appreciate your loved ones, whatever. Y'all know I'm finance related. I have degrees in finance. I love talking about money. So in an open conversation between that family member and I basically just asked them, have you thought about what you're going to do with your estate once you get older or you become ill or if you pass away? Y'all, when I tell you this person was their face got contorted, they're wriggling in their seat just with discomfort. I mean, like if they could have jumped out of their skin, crawled into a cave and hid from me, they would have. And it wasn't because they don't have any money. They have a lot of money. I know they have a lot of money and they have a lot of assets, right? That's why I asked the question. Not because I want it, because I'm just curious. Do you know what your plans are? And I felt close enough to this person to say that. Big mistake. Big mistake. Our relationship ain't been right since, okay? Me and that family member's relationship has not been right since. And it's saddening to me that a discussion about money and the disposition of that money in their death when they are older, like, I'm not saying they could die any day because we all could die any day, but they were much older than me. And it was just one of those inevitable conversations. But obviously they didn't want to have that conversation with me. I don't know if they didn't want to have it at all or they just didn't want to have it with me. And I fear that they thought I was going to try to kill them or something to get their money. I don't know. I don't want to go too far on a tangent, but that's what happens in families. And that's why if I experience that, and just say I told my daughter or my son about this experience as they get older, I'm embedding in them and I'm ingraining in them that same fear. And I don't want it to be fearful. We have to talk about it. Even if it's uncomfortable, we have to talk about it, right? It's so unfortunate that happened because I was really just asking out of curiosity and to just talk it out like as a family member to a family member about advice or things they need to look into or, long-term care insurance. I mean, just the simple things. Anyway, let me get right into it. I'm sorry for the long intro. So I've narrowed down kind of how to overcome this thing about money. So a lot of people don't talk about money. This is the first thing. They don't talk about it because they don't understand it. And the only way to understand money is to talk about it, right? You look it up, you start learning about saving, you learn about emergency funds, start learning about investing, and there's so much information out there that's like A to Z for beginners, for those just starting. If you only have $1 a day to invest, here's what you should do with it. It's not like it has to be too overwhelming. If you don't have a lot of money and you don't understand it, then you can learn about it. Same way that people are into golfing or they're into some game, they're into Comic-Con, whatever your thing is, whatever hobby you're into, whatever you spend your personal time learning about, you have the time, you have the availability, you should do it. Just start little by little by little. The second thing I recommend when it comes to the elephant in the room is cut the small talk. Like if you're that kind of person that's really interested in learning about money and money things and money investing, you have friends that are probably at the same financial level that you are, y'all should start talking about money. You should start talking about investing. You should start talking about maybe pooling your money if there are people you can trust. Just to watch it grow. Like, if we don't talk about the things that matter, if you're going to talk about a show, or you're going to talk about a movie that came out, or you're going to talk about what you heard about some gossip of some celebrity or reality TV, then why can't you talk about money? Those things are just as inane and irrelevant. And if you think money is irrelevant and inane, I don't even know why you're on my channel, but if you are here and you think it's inane, you talk about boring things all the time. You talk about things that you're really not interested in all the time. Let's let money be one of them. The third reason why people don't talk about the elephant in the room is either miseducation or uneducation. So people don't talk about money because they think it's something you shouldn't talk about. And you look at these millionaires and these billionaires, and they had to talk about money. They had to talk about profits. They had to talk about investment and cost and growth. So they talk about money all the time. So whoever told you money is something that you shouldn't talk about probably didn't have a lot of it. And I'm just going to put that out there. Let me know in the comments if you beg to differ and why people don't talk about money. But people who don't want to talk about money don't have any. So you should talk about money. The fourth reason people don't talk about the elephant in the room, which is money. I mean, it powers the world. It powers the economy, right? It's because they don't have a lot, so they don't feel like they have a reason to talk about it. But I know plenty of people who make $50,000 or less. I mean, even $30,000. Again, I talk about, one of my grandfather. He passed away. He had over $1 million when he passed away. And he worked at a factory his whole working life. So it's possible to attain wealth, to build wealth, to grow wealth, making a minimal salary. I'm talking like $30,000 or $40,000 a year, and in today's money. And so it's not difficult. You just have to know what to do with it. So just because you don't think you have a lot of it doesn't mean you can't save it or invest it. It just means that you have to set a budget and figure out what you're going to do with it. And the final reason that people don't talk about money, don't talk about the elephant in the room, is they would rather dream than do. It's so easy to say, oh, I wish I had this. I wish I had this kind of car. I wish I had this big of a house. I wish I could travel the world. I wish I could do all these things. But I travel the world. I don't have millions of dollars. A lot of my friends travel the world and they have less money than I do. It's all about setting your priorities. It's figuring out where you spend your money and where you want to start spending your money. It's about coming up with an action plan. What do I want to do with my life? And then you work backwards from that. If I want to retire at 60 and live off of my retirement income or the money that I've saved, my investment income, then you just run a simple financial calculator, an investment calculator. It'll slap you into reality and tell you if you can do that. It'll tell you if you have enough money to do that, or if you have enough time to build enough money to do that. So don't be a dreamer, be a doer. Dream then do, and that should fix it all for you, And I encourage you all, if you have family, friends, sisters, brothers, mamas, cousins, uncles, aunties, whoever, talk about money. It matters. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about growing it. Let's talk about building it. Let's talk about buying things with it. And if you're around people on a regular basis and you can't talk about the thing that powers the economy, why are you messing with these people? Why are you hanging around them? That's old news. Again, I talked about small talk. I hate small talk. Sometimes I say, if I ain't talking about money, I don't want to talk about it. But I'm not being artificial or superficial. I'm just saying, I'm at the age now where I need to build this wealth so that I can enjoy my older years and I can have enough wealth built for my kids and I can relax, right? But to do that, it takes focus. It takes laser focus. It takes an action plan. It takes time to build that wealth. And it takes time studying and learning the proper ways and the proper places to put your money. So I don't have time to talk about reality TV. Just not now. Give me 10 years. I'll talk about it all day long. But just give me 10 years to invest, continue to invest wisely, so that I don't have an elephant in the room that I don't talk about. And my kids will be prepared, and my husband's prepared, and my family's prepared because we've talked about it. That's the only advice I have for you. Invest in yourself, invest in your family, invest in your friends, just 1% a day, and have exponential results at the end of the year. This is the Real Teddy Talks, signing off.